If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Jordan Williams join the program. He's going to get another opportunity to earn a UFC contract when he takes on Ramazan Kuramagomedov at Dana White's Contender Series on July 23rd. Jordan, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. What a road it has been for you to get back to this point, hasn't it? I mean, you get on the show last season, you have a dominant win, you finish the fight, then you have the positive drug test, you head to Bellator, get another finish there, and now you're getting ready to do this all over again. How would you describe this last year?
You know, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Some parts of the coaster I expected. You know, the drug test, that definitely wasn't one I was planning for, and having to deal with all that backlash. But, you know, we're back at the high end of the trip, and hopefully I can get off this, off this ride with a contract in hand. So, that's mainly the goal, and that basically will determine how this last year has been for me.
What have you learned about yourself throughout this process?
Well, I learned that myself had to be more accountable for my actions, and that throughout this drug testing process, I'm on probation right now, so I had to take a test 30 days out, and then I just took another test yesterday or 2 days ago, 15 days out from the fight, and then I have another test drug testing in 3 days from the fight. So I learned that I have to be more accountable, and that I am accountable. Before, I was thinking, it's hard to quit, smoking, especially when I have a valid reason in my mind to do so. But, I just learned that about myself, that fighting is more important than smoking, and that's the biggest life lesson I've took on.
Have you had to change your lifestyle at all because of all of this? I know, like we said, we're going to kind of get into that stuff a little bit later because there's a little bit of a connection here. But if you had to change some things around, now that you can't smoke anymore, have you found other ways to kind of take care of all of that in the meantime, in the process, for the short term or for however long?
Basically, I mean, I hate that. I mean, I've been taking I've just, little stuff like ibuprofen and. But the main thing I do like to take is non-THC based or non-marijuana based CBDs. So that's a good way for sure to get the pain relief and the emotion going through any training camp that I've been so far.
Let's talk about July 23rd, Jordan. How excited are you for this? I mean, we're less than 2 weeks away. Life doesn't hand us second chances often, and you're getting one. How has everything been going, getting ready for this fight?
It's been going great, man. A lot of people have been behind me. I have a new group of sponsors that are really helping me not have to work all day, and they're just fronting all the bills for right now. So that's been a good change. And my coaches, everyone's kind of like checking in with me, but hey, how are we doing? You good? There's a lot of not just checking in on me, whether I'm doing what I need to do to be ready for this fight based off the other stuff we talked about, but just mentally. And I have a bigger support group, so it's been going good moving forward. This second chance, I'm gonna make the most out of it, and I have a lot of people that are making sure I do so. So I feel really good. I feel real confident, and I'm not gonna let my mouth. I'm just gonna let my hands do the talking for this second chance.
So you get Ramazan Kuramagomedov. He's your opponent. I think he's your second opponent that got signed for this fight. He's unbeaten. He's from Russia. Has some fights with ACB. I know he most recently competed for the PFL. Is he someone you knew much about when he was presented to you?
I didn't know who he was when he was presented to me. They just said, "Hey, do you want to fight this guy? He's 7-0." I was like, "Yep, sure." And then he canceled, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to fight this guy? He's 5-0." I was like, "Sure, let's do it. Let's fight it." And so basically, I knew that he was like what you said, he's undefeated. He's Kuramagomedov. He's from Dagestan, so he's gonna be tough. He's gonna be well conditioned, I believe, and based off the fight videos that I've seen from him, he kind of comes from all angles. So I didn't know anything about him before this fight, but I knew just from his reputation that he's a a standout fighter, and it should be a banger.
What are besides the angles and everything? What are some of the other things you've learned about him watching film on him and that you've used for your preparation to get ready for this one?
He likes to run backwards and kind of counter off your counter or counter off your aggressiveness. And he switches stances a lot. He throws kicks at all angles, leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. I think he threw a lot of head kicks in the last one. So we're planning. We have a game plan to move forward and use his kicks against him. So that's pretty much. And he did get some wrestling takedowns. So he's like solid everywhere, but he does switch with his stance a lot. He does mess with his clothing a lot. He's pulling down his shorts. So there's a lot of openings and there's a lot of gaps that we can cap on. And basically if it's like our styles match up great because I like to go forward and he likes to go backwards. So I'm good at going forward. He's good at going backwards. It's basically whoever attacks their game plan or executes their game plan rather is going to come out there with the W from this fight.
You get the chance to fight at the new UFC Apex in Las Vegas, and last year you fought at the Tough Gym, and I've been told by many people that the amenities, so to speak, at the Tough Gym were, let's just say, okay. They were passable. But this UFC Apex is a state-of-the-art facility. It's like a country club compared to the Tough Gym. Are you excited to check that out and fight at that new facility in 12 days?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to see what the UFC has been working on in there, and I'm excited to see because get ready for that UFC lifestyle and what they provide for the fighters, and basically be under the lights and everything. It's not going to be as big as as an arena, but it's definitely going to get more of the feel of an arena type with those big lights over your head and being able to perform, big eyes on you. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm just really excited to be in there.
The fact that you've been on the show, the fact that you fought in front of Dana and everybody, and that you got to finish, and you kind of saw how the process works, heading into this next one in a couple of weeks, do you feel like you have a little bit of an advantage because, one, you've been there before, two, you fought in that building where there's not a lot of people there, so it's kind of a different feel to it, and three, you kind of know what Dana's looking for?
Oh yeah, I definitely the biggest confidence booster that I tell myself and my coaches really remind me is like, yo, you've been in there before, and not only did you go in there before, last year you went in there on a 5-day fight notice. You went to took them out in the third round. You showed cardio, you showed heart, you showed that you have power to do everything that you want to do in a fight successfully. So yes, I know what Dana wants. He doesn't want standard ground and pound. He doesn't want to see any really wrestling type stuff. He wants to see as he's been saying all season, killers. So I'm just gonna go in there. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill the show. And I know exactly what I did wrong last year. Even though it was a win, it was a finish. I know how I could have done so better.
And now you get a full camp heading into this fight. So with that being said, how do you see this all playing out on July 23rd? I mean, this past week's show, as we record, we saw 5 contracts awarded on the show. It's never been done before. How do you see this all playing out in 12 days?
I can see a first round knockout or a third round TKO, just weathering him down. Really, if I don't catch him right away in the first round, he might last through the second, and I see either me finishing him in the third. I see via knockout, but I mean, my coach already told me if I submit this guy, I might walk over there with my brown belt. So submissions on the table. Knockouts usually my forte, so that's obviously on the table. But those are the two ways I see this fight ending.
We talked about the road that it took to get here this past year for you, getting a second chance and everything you've gone through to get to this point. If all goes well, you perform great, Dana White says, Jordan Williams, welcome to the UFC, you become a UFC fighter, what will that all mean to you?
It will just mean that the first step of my my fighter's life purpose is complete because, you know, I want to get to the top stage and not only be there but start performing. So it'll just be a great checkpoint checked off the list because no way in hell am I gonna stop pursuing and think that the road ends here. You know, I got a lot of ambition on my plate that I plan on eating for a couple more years or a lot of years. You know, as long as I can compete in this sport and compete successfully. So it just means that what I'm doing right now is right. And that's my biggest thing that it would mean for me.
One other reason I was excited to have you on is the sponsor of these videos that I do is a company called teststrips.com, and they are a company that is in the fight against diabetes. They are an incredible company, and their mission is to try to make supplies more affordable for folks who need them, people who don't have insurance and all that. And I know that you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 19, and there's certainly a difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes, but you know, being a mixed martial artist, being a professional athlete, having diabetes, I'm sure it can be really difficult, but at the same time, it's probably been a little bit of an outlet for you as well to kind of forget about that and focus on training and all that good stuff. For those who have diabetes that may be watching this right now, for those who are struggling with diabetes or something else, mind you, what advice would you give them when it comes to training, being a martial artist, stepping out of your comfort zone? What would you tell them?
I would say to those people kind of like looking in the same situation that, first off, check your blood sugar a lot. And, you know, it's probably just competing would probably be just as uncomfortable in a sense of like how the doctor first told you when you got diabetes, right? It's like you're hearing all this news, you're feeling really uncomfortable, like what do I do, what's next? And I feel like you might have that uncomfortable feeling competing and fighting, but once you start and once you get going and once you really pursue something that you love, it might not even be fighting, it might be, you know, in a kind of a rocky choice, like maybe like mountain biking, and you're out in the middle of nowhere with no sources of sugar, you know, like you can plan for all that. I'd say, you know, just like I just say go for it, you know, you don't want to be looking back and be like, you know, yeah, I let these doctors choose for me what to do. So for me, it is like you say, it's a big relief.
Jordan Williams is taking on Ramazan Kuramagomedov, July 23rd, Dana White's Contender Series. That is a hell of a matchup, and I'm looking forward to it for sure. Jordan, I appreciate the time, man. I appreciate your insight on everything. And before we get out of here, let the folks know how to follow along on this journey with you via the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Mike. So, BOMAYEMMA, you know, like Ali Boumaier. Then we have, you know, Jordan Williams on Facebook, and at JWill_NCFA is my Twitter account. That's how you can follow me on the social media. Big shout outs to Jake Sykes Asphalt, one of my main sponsors. Matrix Nutrition is a really big one. We have Julian Solano Realty, and he's with Coldwell Banker. We have a couple of other sponsors right now that I'm having. Turp House, that's, you know, a provider of my CBDs, and my fight gear is Nasuki Fight Gear. Those are some big sponsors. I want to give a big thanks to. Also, Sparky's Collision Center. Anytime my car gets messed up or I need a little tweak here or there, he just comes in there and fixes my car at the price of just telling me to win the next fight. So Sparky, I really appreciate you. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity, Mike, for giving me the chance to broadcast myself and everyone who's helped me get to this point.
Thank you, Jordan. All the best to you. Wish you the best of luck on July 23rd. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, brother. Take care.